home. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
By the 19th. On a 3-2, Pete drives one in the air to deep left center. His first 2-homer game as an Oriole. Alonso cranks one into the Birds bullpen. A 2-run shot off the foul pole in the second. A 2-run shot to the Oriole relievers in the fourth. He extends the lead. And for the first time in Birdland, game number 118, Pete Alonso goes deep twice in one day.
Back-to-back polar vortexes right
and
there.
that was courtesy of Masson from yesterday, as the Orioles do indeed avoid the sweep at the hands of the Rangers. Pete Alonso goes up on the board for the third time this season with his 2 home runs and a 10-5 victory. So all's good. Good weekend, right? Yeah, everything. The Orioles scored 10 runs. I mean, what more can you ask for? You want them to score 2 in another game? Okay, would you rather score 2 or 10? That's just math, people. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm exhausted. I'm very tired. Got to bed just after 9 o'clock last night. Was feeling good about myself. Like, hey, I can get 6 quality hours of sleep this evening. And then for some reason, at 2 a.m., my body, like Young the Giant would say, my body tells me no. Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
You just didn't sleep?
I don't think I got like 4 solid hours of sleep.
Come on. What are you complaining about then?
Right? And I've been at it. I do this thing where, like, I don't normally eat during the day, but, like, when I do the morning show on WBAL, I don't know if it's just my body's like, hey, yo, what we doing? So I ran over and had a yogurt parfait, and I don't think it's helping.
What?
I think it's just...
It looked like you were enjoying it over there.
It was fine. It just came from a convenience store. I just don't think it's that much of a... I don't think it's a quality yogurt parfait. I think it's all working against me.
I guess all right.
Hey, Pete Alonso, though. Pete Alonso. Now the Orioles have one 250 hitter in their lineup. One.
He's the only guy?
Going into yesterday, they had none.
Well, Pete's got the best average on the team.
250 hitters in their lineup. Now, look, Blaze Alexander would obviously have been over 250.
Baseball's not about batting average.
That's a great point. But yet, you go ahead and tell me how many teams around baseball have no 250 hitters.
I don't know. If I venture to guess,
the answer would be 0.
Okay, so the Orioles do have one.
Now they do.
Yeah.
Now they do. I don't know, man. There's nothing you can say that doesn't sound like you're
2 games
piling on.
back.
Right. They're not very good. That's not new. We know that. They're not very good. Will this be a galvanizing moment, them busting out the bats? Probably not. None of the rest of them have. There hasn't been a galvanizing moment yet this season. So why would this be the galvanizing moment? We all wanted Gunnar Henderson to have a galvanizing moment last Friday night. How many hits has he had since then? 1?
Yeah, but he scored 2 runs yesterday.
Right.
Thanks to Pete homering, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say. They won a game, which is better than winning 0 games. Spare me all the stuff from Friday night. I really wanted to get on board with everybody. I do hate the burden for MLB replay, and I had some baseball people that were chiming in with me over the weekend. Like, well, what do you want the burden to be? I don't want the call on the field to matter. I want it to be that when it goes back to New York, they say, this is the play. Like, I'd like for there to be a world in which the New York doesn't even know what the call on the field was. Now, I understand that's not realistic. But I don't want the call on the field to matter when it gets to New York. I want it to be that when it gets to New York, here's what happened. You tell us, out, safe, whatever. Catch, no catch, whatever it is that you're reviewing. That's what I want. Oh, yeah, Griffin's showing this for Apple. God, I'm glad we can relive this. I think that I saw the same thing that you all think that you saw, where it looks like Diaz never actually applies the tag. But I did go on Friday night against my will. I waited a little while. I went and did the dishes. People were like, it's so wild that everybody was
makes
like,
you
normally
really
you're
upset.
quick to chime in on these things. I'm like, am I really? I guess maybe that's part of what I'm known for. So I finally took it frame by frame. And the opinion that I ultimately have is that despite me hating the burden of replay, I think they were right to not overturn it. I do. That was my opinion. That doesn't mean that I am because I'm sure that he was out, it's not because I'm sure that he was out. It's because uniquely, if you presented that to me and said, what do you see? I would say, I think he's safe, but it's the last frame. I posted it on Friday, I think. There's one frame where, I guess Dontrell Willis brought it up when they were talking about it. It's the last, like right in there, it is essentially impossible to tell if the top of Leody Taveras' sliding mitt isn't touching the bottom of Diaz's glove. And your eyes, when you freeze it, make you say, I think it is. And that's where, if I can't see the play for sure, if I can't, that's where I default back to, what do they call? What was the call on the field? Yeah, you tell me with certainty, as I shared the freeze frame. And look, it's blurry because that's the nature of me not being a technology whiz. But you tell me with confidence that what you're looking at there isn't the catcher's mitt, the very bottom of it, touching Leody Taveras' sliding glove.
Should we just be mad he didn't slide in head first?
Yes,
with that?
definitely should be. Lots of things to be mad about. There's a few things that I said. If you want to, the biggest issue is...
Well, they scored one run, yeah.
Well, that's definitely. The biggest issue is offensively they stunk. Second biggest issue is Leody Taveras has to slide to the backside of the plate. Has to slide around the tag, make it more difficult to tag. Really, he has to dive, not slide. What I was trying to talk about on Friday night was, realistically, it is a bad send because of the circumstance. The circumstance is this is the tying run with one out.
What had second and third.
Uniquely, in that spot, it can't be a can he score. The burden for a send in that unique spot has to be, will he definitively score? Because otherwise,
I mean, it's like,
you need to have runners on second and third with one out.
Okay.
I acknowledge the Orioles may feel the need to be. Did you go to the club this morning?
Oh no,
I can't help but notice that you got your club. Did you go to the what fair is going on?
It was the Honey Honey Bar in Deep Creek.
Excuse me?
The Honey Honey Bar.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, come on. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, very taken aback. But the offense is so bad that none of us are confident at all that if there had been runners on second and third, that the Orioles would have played at either of those runs. And so if you want to say that the offense is so bad that it requires you to be reckless, that it requires you to make bad sends and just hope Like, pray that the Rangers don't have a good relay there? I guess. I guess. I guess. And I do believe Buck Britton actually did a radio pregame interview on Saturday. And, like, he talked about the circumstances, and he even included, like, and, tonight we've been struggling to score runs. Well, it's not a tonight problem. It's everything other than yesterday problem. So, there's a lot of layers to it. But to say the Orioles definitively got hosed or jobbed, I can't join you there. I just can't. I wish I could. And I do think that the replay conversation needs to be had because I do think that the burden for replay is incorrect. I don't think that the call on the field should matter unless you cannot determine via video definitely what happened. Or, you say definitely. Unless you have serious doubt on video about what the call was. And based on that freeze frame that I saw, that would raise to serious doubt. And there was also a question about whether the ball came out of Diaz's glove or not. I looked at it a bunch of different ways. I couldn't say that definitively either. There was one freeze frame that was going around that made it seem like it probably was, but again, you can't tell from that he still doesn't have a grasp of it in the glove. You just see the ball more clearly moving towards the ground. So, I don't know. I mean, the throw beat him by a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Like, so you should maybe they should save Gunnar as a pinch runner from now on.
It is weird that it was
because he's the only one you would think would score there, probably. Like, if he was running, he scores. Him and Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso. What about the piano?
The two best base runners on the team.
Would the piano on his back score or not?
Yeah.
Pete. God, he's working.
Gives
hard,
him extra
man.
velo.
He is working hard. Pete,
extra speed.
Orioles lose 2 out of 3. They're 2 games back. They got to face Dean Kramer tonight, and if I've ever been confident
Revenge
in
Dean Kramer.
anything, it's that Dean Kramer is going to shove tonight. I don't know what happens, right? Like, I can't tell you that means the Twins are going to win. I just think that Dean Kramer is going to throw 7 innings and allow 1 run. That's what I think is going to occur tonight. A bad Orioles offense against Dean Kramer, oh, buddy. I got no. Now, somebody would say that doesn't this feel reverse locky, like almost that. Of course, that's what's going to happen. So you bet the other. Nope, not at all, not at all. Don't know who's going to win the game, but I am confident that the Orioles offense is not going to do much against
Dean Kramer's going to go 8 innings. Has he ever gone 8 innings? I don't think he has. I feel like he's going to go 8 innings tonight.
I don't know. So. I was trying to figure out whether we should do, do we do 3 up, 3 down here? Let's do 3 up, 3 down here. We'll do that, get it over with, and we'll talk to Mike Bordick. Mike Bordick's going to join us, and then later on in the program, Mike Florio. Big day for the Mike. Mike A.
3 up.
And 3 down.
3 up and 3 down, brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan, Ross, and Luke get together today at 5:30 p.m. to talk Orioles with you. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan shows brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn. Oh, I had a lovely Friday lunch at the Costas Inn. Thanks to my buddy Jeff Becker. We went over to the Costas Inn in Timonium. I comboed the cream of crab, because the Costas Inn is the king of the cream of crab, with the deviled eggs.
Ooh.
The crab deviled eggs.
Dang.
It was difficult for me because it meant I wasn't getting the crabby jalapeno poppers, and I think everybody knows how much I enjoy.
Just get them all.
I thought about it, but I believe my family was planning on having dinner together on Friday evening.
Just pass.
Man, it was a lovely, lovely time at the Costas Inn in Timonium. Of course, there's still the OG in Dundalk, and then the new one at the Grandstand in Timonium.
I completely forgot. The Orioles won 6-0 over the Astros on September 23rd, 2022. Dean went 9 a complete game.
A 9-inning complete game.
Yeah, complete game shutout.
Because this year the Orioles don't do 9.
Yeah,
they do complete games, but they don't. They're not 9 innings. They're 8 innings and you lost. Shane Baz got to experience that.
Although that happened twice this year. That happened against the Nats. I think he threw 8 innings against the Nats and that one lost.
I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was maybe Rogers.
Oh, maybe it was. He had a great start against the Nats too. I think Baz.
I swear there was one other
and lost.
Like complete.
Shane Baz just might be Is he the most cursed? I don't know. I mean, I guess he's not cursed.
I mean, look, he also didn't, he also didn't field the ball the other night.
Yeah.
Amazingly, they called it a hit and not an error. But like, I'm not mad at him about it because he was brilliant even with that. But just what it is.
All right,
what
sorry.
it is. 3 up and 3 down for the week. It was a 3 and 3 week. Does it feel like more like an up week or a down week?
Feels like more.
I was going to say because they won yesterday. Does it feel more like you still think it's a down week?
I don't know.
Because you think you were spotted, you should have been spotted 3 against the Angels at home.
Yeah.
So you should have definitely gone. Yeah. All right, fine. We'll go with a down week. So the up, my number 3, Mr. Tyler O'Neill, baby.
Really, he's gonna be higher on my list.
Oh wow, look at you.
I mean, the offense was terrible this week.
I hear you, but the pitching, some of the pitchers were pretty good. It's a shame that Cade Povich didn't. Cade Povich was like in line to be on this list, and then
all he had to do was like get through 5 innings yesterday. And
look. He's still just a platoon bat. That's all he is. Like, we have to be honest about that. Like, you really don't want him in there against righties. But
I think he had a hit against a righty over the weekend.
I think he had one, yeah. But you'll still take this. Like, him as a platoon bat is still at least offering some amount of value. Reached base 9 times and 18 plate appearances last week, and obviously the 3 home runs. Tyler O'Neill's number 3.
This is where I have Trevor Rogers. It's my number 3.
Okay.
Kobe Mayo had a really good week as well, but Rogers I felt like he was just so impressive Wednesday night after all the discourse about trading him, and then he comes out and has, only went 6 innings, I guess, but one of the better starts of his career, he allowed 3 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts. So Trevor Rogers is my number 3.
Trevor Rogers, that's insane because he's number 2.
It's insane.
Yeah, he's number 2. He was very good. No doubt about it. It was the Angels, so we do have to
I guess.
consider that.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Delivered. Shane Baz is my number 2.
You're drunk. Shane Baz is number 1.
He lost the game.
You're in love with Tyler O'Neill. What's
Not
going
in love
on
with
around
Tyler.
here?
I guess I just like home runs, yeah.
Shane Baz, number 1. He was awesome. He went 8 innings. We don't see that anymore.
Tyler O'Neill's my number 1. I hate
What
to.
a world.
I kind of feel dirty saying it, but
what a world.
he was kind of the best player this week.
Down list, number 3, Brandon Young. I get that we probably have allowed our expectations for him to get a little out of control and unreasonable, but 4 1/3 innings and 8 base runners against the Angels should not be the barometer for anyone in baseball. Brandon Young's number 3.
That's why he's number 2 because we've grown to expect more than that from him. So yeah, Young's my number 2. Carlos Narvaez is my number 3. He's not supposed to be here, but he is. And
it's not even that he's supposed to be here. I think he's an upgrade over what they had.
He grounds in the. He does exactly the same thing that all the other catchers have been doing that aren't named
his
Adley
at-bats
Rutschman.
are definitely more competitive than theirs.
I guess if you're right. His at-bats are better than Sam Huff. That's for sure.
Like, way
that's
more
for sure. But I felt like the tags. I guess Gunner's throws were terrible towards home as well, and then we'll talk about him. But I felt like his tags weren't good. I didn't like what I saw from Carlos Narvaez.
Dylan Beavers is number 2. He's got this opportunity. He went 3 for 18 with the opportunity. Dylan Beavers.
Okay. Young's my number 2.
Okay. Obviously Gunner's number 1. And look, I get it. He actually had, 7 walks this week? He went 1 for 17. I don't know what to say. It's just unmitigated. It's an unmitigated disaster. And I know his buddy got traded, and I know he's heartbroken about that, but
that's why I give him a pass for the whole week.
Yeah, nothing is good. There's nothing good. Other than, again, the walks. The walks were good. But God, is that how much we're coddling Gunnar Henderson now that we would say, well, got to slow down here. You got some walks this week. Gunnar Henderson, number 1. Easy choice.
Yeah. Gunnar, he's not supposed to go 1 for 17, really, ever. And while making all the horrible throws and errors in the field. So.
Yeah, it's just unwatchable. But there you go. 3 up and 3 down. God, what a depressing. They won yesterday. They scored 10 runs. And I've got no energy for it. Now, some of that, again, is because I got no sleep. I have as much energy as I had sleep. I acknowledge that, and I wasted all the good energy over on BAL. Sorry to you guys. Sorry. Then I was still, running on, I can't even think of the word that I'm trying. Adrenaline, that's the one. Jesus, man. I am tapped out. Tapped out. But I blame the Orioles for that. That's who I blame for it. All right, we continue along here on a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. The Orioles indeed lose 2 out of 3 to the Rangers last week. They're 4 games under 500 again. They're 2 games out of the second wild card spot. We haven't chatted with this man since the Orioles trade deadline, so we'll get his thoughts on where they find themselves now on the other side. You know him from 105.7 The Fan. You know him from the League of Dreams and his podcast as well. He is Orioles Hall of Famer Mike Bordick, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Bordy, it's Glenn. Bordy, aren't we all just having a great time watching Orioles baseball? What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Glenn. I'm good, man. I'm all right. Thanks for mentioning the League of Dreams and the podcast and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's tough, man. What a tough year to be an Oriole fan, the ups and downs, the inconsistencies, the signs of brilliance, right? Like, oh my gosh, look how good these guys can be. And then on the other hand, oh my gosh, how bad can these guys get? So just the roller coaster ride, and we'll see how they finish up. But I don't know. It seems like all season long we've been talking about them right there in the wild card hunt, and it might take them a little run or two to get there. But we'll see what happens here down the stretch.
Mike, I want to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. I'm going to start with because I know you guys had Buster on the BMore Baseball podcast, and then Buster, he's typically hard on the Orioles. He doesn't hide it much, but I'm torn about this because I think we're all frustrated about where the Orioles are. And I think rightfully so we're frustrated about where the Orioles are on the whole. The trade deadline itself, I don't know. I don't know how mad I am. I'm mad that the Orioles got to this point with Adley Rutschman, but he was going to be a free agent next year, and we don't know if there's going to be a next year, and they're not very good, and he hasn't been good really since mid-May, and yet they still were able to get a really good return for him. It's hard for me to be very worked up about that decision or that trade, while I acknowledge that I'm frustrated about where the Orioles are on the whole.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I think that is kind of the sentiment. And we don't want to be stagnant and all of a sudden be losing. I think part of this whole process is the understanding that, the Orioles have to have foresight, because if they're not going to be, a top payroll team, they're going to have to do just this, trade guys maybe a little bit earlier than the fans, had hoped. But the fact that he was part of the rebuild, he was the rebuild, the face of the rebuild, the fact that, the Orioles had to lose for 4 years and the Orioles fans are so patient. They put all the stock into Adley Rutschman as the foundational piece, and that's where the frustration sets in. Now, this haul that he got back, I think it's pretty darn good, and I think the fact that all of a sudden they've been pitcher centric now, it seems like maybe last year in some trades and now into this year, with the draft and everything, I think they're setting up better on that front, because they completely missed for 8 years on any pitching. They hadn't developed any pitching. And even the pitchers that they finally did develop were undrafted guys, but so we'll see what happens here with this group of young prospects. That's the thing. It seems like for the last couple years coming into every year, there's just a lot of hope, there isn't a lot of proven, and we're kind of going to be there again. Let's hope the young guys hit, man, because that's what it's going to take. And if they don't, then it's just going to be a tough road for a while.
Mike Elias says this is not another rebuild, that, and that's measured against the fact that he's acquiring more prospects, but obviously you can turn around and trade prospects for major league pieces if there is a season next year. I guess it's a twofold question to me. One, do you trust that it's not another rebuild, that the Orioles do intend to be aggressive in fixing their many problems moving forward? And then 2, do you feel like Mike Elias has earned the benefit of the doubt and the right that he should be still the one making decisions moving forward?
I don't know, man. It's so tough. And listen, man, I know that the landscape is just forever changing, and especially with the Orioles, everything that, Elias's tenure has really gone through with COVID, has been a challenge. Moving the field all around, first the fences back and then bring back in, all that kind of stuff too. I don't know. I feel like the organization is where it should have been after, 4 years ago, as far as the strength, as far as the pitching, maybe some young prospects. So, that said, I feel like it's set up in a pretty good situation with Bradish and Boz signed up. You got the Polar Bear, signed up for a while. Basayo signed up. So there are some pieces. There aren't a lot of mysteries. I think there's a pretty good foundation, and with the hope of pitching, because pitching is always going to be the key, because nobody's figured out really how to keep pitchers healthy. So you better have a lot of really good young pitching, and I think the Orioles are kind of in that position right now. And then they might be able to go out and test the free agent market. But all this is said with, can we look past what's just transpired over the last 8 years and say, okay, let's give them another try? You know what I mean? The one thing that I will say that I personally feel like was missing was just the overall development. And I guess part of that is just the fact that guys nowadays, just the way the game is, they don't mind rushing guys up to the big leagues, and they just feel like they can develop up there. And we've seen that it doesn't really happen like that. It's just a lot of inconsistencies. Even if a guy does have a flash where he's rookie of the year, just the foundational structure of these players is just, it hasn't been solidified, so there are going to be all these inconsistencies with young guys and no true foundation. So I hope the development process changes, and I don't know how that will happen. I think in large part, just the whole idea of trying to understand the modern athlete, I think they lost a little bit of what Major League Baseball, the prerequisite of Major League Baseball is. And we've all seen that, the lack of defense, the lack of proper base running, the lack of, let's just say, overall baseball IQ. So I think if an organization, and like the Orioles, is set up because they can truly separate themselves, I think all these teams talk about winning on the margins. Well, the true margin this year is if you can catch the ball and run the bases better, you're going to be a better team. So I would think that they would look at it like that and say, we need that type of development, that type of focus on these guys, because they're all incredible athletes and they're all going to get their bat speed up just from all the technology they have now. But don't forget about what Major League Baseball is supposed to be about, and that's the best guys catching the ball, the best guys throwing the ball and hitting. So right now, I think we're overpaying for minor league baseball, to be honest with you, just because of so many injuries, to be honest with you.
That's about right. Mike Bordick with us here on GCR. Mike, we've talked so much this season about Gunnar. I think all of us were hoping that last Friday night against the Phillies, that huge clutch, would prove to be game-winning triple would be the moment for him. That's obviously not been the case. He had all of one hit, although I acknowledge 7 walks last week. I was asked a question over the weekend that, I don't know how to answer, which is, we all keep saying that we hope that one day he just wakes up and he's Gunnar Henderson again, but at what point do you have too much evidence and do you say maybe he's not what we thought he was? What is the line between, hey, there's still Gunnar Henderson in there versus maybe the guy that we saw for 2024 was an anomaly and he's just not that player? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard, I guess, to put your finger on this. And I will say this: I think I think Gunner's abilities shine through. Whenever he gets on base, he creates havoc. You know, the other team, they hate it. He goes first to third all the time. He's a base stealing threat, even though he hasn't probably stole as much as he has in the past. He's, you know, a power threat at the plate. He's had more home runs than he hit last year. I think that just the fact that he's, I don't know, maybe his walks are down a little bit and his strikeouts are up. It just doesn't look as appealing, but I think Gunnar Henderson is still a pretty attractive player. I think he's still trying to learn and understand shortstop. I'm not a big fan of how he's running through everything again, and that just kind of tells me that he's just not secure yet. He doesn't feel stable out there. So in that insecurity, he's got to either slide on his knees for plays or run through every ball. He doesn't trust the fact of setting up and making a fundamentally sound play. Well, whatever, he's making the plays right now, so that's all good. But I just think the poor guy, he's still so young, and there's just so much clutter in his head. And if he could find ways to compartmentalize some things, you know, and you hear these guys talk about the process, but another thing he's got to do is kind of accept some responsibility as now the team leader. Yeah, we can put it on Polar Bear, but Gunnar, do you want to be the superstar guy? Then you better step up and kind of hold yourself accountable and be that guy for the team. Listen, I was screaming for Adley to be that guy, and it never quite happened. And I know Gunnar might feel a little off, but man, if this team they want him to be so good. They know how important he is. And in large part, that's why the Orioles offense has just been so inconsistent, just because he hasn't been that consistent offensive piece for a number of days now, that's for sure. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the right answer is. I still see great skill. I just think this game is so mental that if he can find a way to clean that part of it up, because you can, you know, he wears it on his sleeve, good or bad. Yeah. Do we want to see emotion? Of course we do. We know he cares, but I think sometimes that energy can just get taken away from, you know, his game. And so when he can understand how to channel energy the right way, yeah, learn from your mistake or whatever, and be frustrated because you're a team guy, but be done with it and move on to the next task at hand, man, because he just wears it so much. You see, sometimes it carries over into defense and definitely into the next at bat.
Should he still be, whether it's leading off or third, should he still be at the top of the lineup, or at some point should he have been dropped down more towards the bottom of the lineup?
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I think the fact that they move guys around so much, why wouldn't they try him just to shake it up a little bit? But I will say this: there's a presence about Gunnar. I don't know that too many pitchers like facing him. You know, I think, and the fact that he's, you know, been a little bit more consistent here recently against left-handed pitching throws another wrench into it. But, you know, you're dealing with power, you're dealing with speed. And if he could cut back on a little on the swing and miss, he would be an elite, I think, more dangerous offensive type player. So just where he is in the lineup disrupts it, you know, and I think there were a lot of times that I think back when I was a player, Mark McGuire was like, he couldn't run, man. He had a plantar fasciitis kind of thing going. And I was like, all you need to do is just stand in the box. Who cares? It's just your presence that changes the whole lineup, you know? And I think Gunnar kind of offers that. They might be able to pitch to him a little bit, but they know they got to go through Gunnar and how dangerous he potentially could be.
It's an interesting way of looking at it. Does it add more pressure to him, I guess, is the flip side, right? Like, does he feel more of a burden because of it?
Well, yeah, so here you go. When you're thinking about, you know, this great game at the highest level, I think there's a lot of psychological battling that goes on. Can you imagine if Alvarez says, okay, Gunnar, we're putting you down an 8-hole, man. Just take some pressure off. Well, what do you think Gunnar's first thought will be? I know what mine would be. I'm a failure, man. I failed. Right. I didn't do it. Okay. And that's just part of the human nature. Trust me. I felt that more times than any player. How about being in the on-deck circle in a big situation and getting whistled back. Hey, we're going to pinch hit for you. We don't trust you in this situation. What? Well, where's your confidence go? And a lot of Orioles hitters have had to deal with that. Like one night they're starting, and the next night they're getting pinch hit for. So there's some head-scratching things going on there. But, I think that's the kind of how fragile some of these players can be mentally. So trying to keep their confidence up and staying positive is a tough battle, but you also have to be real about stuff, and so I hear what you're saying, Glenn, and it might be too late for that anyway.
I understand that.
To move them down, that's for sure.
A lot of look, right as soon as we were ready to write off Leody Taveras, he ends up having a really good week last week, right? But I think there's been a lot of questions about why not one more look at Heston Kjerstad, and I don't say that because I'm confident that Heston Kjerstad is ever going to be a quality major league hitter or a plus defender, but I do know that they're going to run out of time, that like next year they're going to have to make an actual decision about Heston Kjerstad, and I would think you'd want to have maybe one more prolonged look at him at the bigs before you've got to make a decision, or hoping that you can maybe get some trade value back in him. It's tough for me because, again, I know we've seen him a lot, but I just feel like right now, with respect to, I like that Christian Franklin isn't redundant. I feel like you need to see him one more time. Am I wrong about that?
Well, that's interesting because I feel like they do need to evaluate their players, and whether you got to evaluate them somewhere, and why not in front of the major league coaching staff. I feel like they're all going to be here again, and if they're going to be the ones pulling the triggers and helping understand what is going to be the winning formula, for next year, and maybe what guys need to work on, I think that's where you have to do it, man, because I think over the past few years anyway, the evaluation process to some degree has just been missed, and or at least maybe they did understand that, but they didn't know that the ebbs and flows were going to be so steep and the inconsistencies to lead to, this kind of outcome. So if you can put as many young guys in front of the coaching staff and let them run and play and see what they can do, without kind of selling out and saying we're not going to make it, I think it's important, and I think it's imperative really to get as many of the young guys up. Colton Cowser should be playing every day. Mayo should be playing every day. Decisions like that, really, because we can't go through another year with Colton Cowser being a utility center fielder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got to find out what we got right there. And the same thing holds true with what you said about Erstad. Is he going to be part of this organization, or do we have to get rid of him now? Because, and I know you're hanging on to some of Elias's guys here, but listen, if you're going to give guys opportunities, now's the time to do it, because there's going to be a day where you're just not going to have the patience for that.
No,
and I think we're at the end of it.
And he's out of options. So, I mean, like, it's just, you're going to have to make that decision. It's going to have to happen. Right. And if you only use spring training, and again, who knows how long spring training is going to be to make that decision, that is tough.
Well, everybody shines in spring training.
That is true, too. That is also true. You are not wrong about that. All right, Mike, what all do we want to get plugs in for?
Well, I know you already talked about the BMore Baseball podcast, like when we had Buster Olney on there, and him talking about his feelings about the Orioles. So that was pretty exciting. League of Dreams, we're just putting out our next episode, the Rocks the Pearls podcast. Frank Klarick and I did a tour of the Baltimore, or the Blind Institute of Baltimore, where they have a factory, they make paper products and things like that. It was pretty amazing. Anyway, we were part of the podcast, and so that'll be our next episode. Check it out, leagueofdreams.org, that Rocks the Pearls podcast.
Awesome. At Bordick, as well as how you follow him. Mike, always appreciate you, brother. Let's talk again real soon. Thanks for hopping on.
Sounds good, Glenn. Thanks.
It's Mike Bordick with us here on GCR. I know what he's saying, and like, this is part of the difficulty when we say, hey, you need to move Gunnar Henderson down, is like, right, but then for who? And it's it's the when someone pushes back when we have the Heston Kjerstad conversation. Who was it? Jacob last week that we were having it with, and people were like, "No, I've seen enough of Kjerstad," and I'm like, "Right, but like, who is it that you want to see more of?"
You want to see Tyler Neal there every night, like.
I mean,
I guess this week, but
no, still not every night. He's a platoon hitter,
but he was in the line. I guess he wasn't every night. But.
No, he wasn't. I want to move Gunnar Henderson down in the lineup too. I think it's past time for that. So tell me who you're moving up. Because I've heard the argument for Beavers. I think our buddy Zach Moore from the Bat Around was making that argument that it should be like have maybe Holiday, Beavers, Alonso. But like, what about Dylan Beavers tells you that's where he should be? Again, I know what we want Dylan Beavers to be. I know what we're hoping he'll become. I see the same skill set that everybody else sees. But what is Dylan Beavers actually? Has he earned the right to be batting near the top of the lineup? I also understand wanting, to alternate left, right, left. And having Pete Alonso hit second because of that. But I again, my personal opinion, broadly, if yes or no, should Gunnar Henderson be in the top 3 of your lineup? My opinion, no, he should not be. Okay, now follow up. Who should be? No one.
You move Basayo back up in the top 3 once he gets back. I mean, that's another lefty.
Alonso should be in the top 3. And because of all the lefties, he almost has to be number 2, right? Yeah. Like, you almost have no choice. Holiday, if you look at Jackson Holiday, like, since the beginning of July, you see someone who's producing. If you look at him for the last 2 weeks, you see, If you want to say, on the whole, you'd still keep him there, I guess.
Holiday against righties. Kobe Mayo versus lefties.
I mean, he's a triples machine. That's the issue with having this conversation. Somebody's got to be at the top of the order. They don't have good options. They did. I would be way more inclined to say you must move Gunnar Henderson. But given what your options are, maybe you're just as well, as Mike Bordick brings up, hoping that his presence, and again, he walked a couple of times leading to Pete Alonso home runs yesterday. Maybe his presence really is still more valuable, even if he's not Gunnar Henderson. Come back in. We'll switch gears. Interesting thoughts from Mike Florio last week that maybe the Zay Flowers deal and some other things he's heard could mean the Ravens are closer to some resolution with Lamar Jackson. I don't know. We'll talk to him about it next. Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Don't fumble your fantasy football draft. Host your party at Sports and Social inside Live Casino. We've got everything you need to make the night a winner with massive screens, cool drinks, great food, and Wi-Fi that won't drop the ball. Reserve your table by August 20th to enter our early draft bonus drawing. Draft like a pro at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Dave LaMonaco profiles Orioles play-by-play voice Kevin Brown, looking at his rise as an amiable mainstay and one of the top voices in all of baseball. Also inside, Antonio Barbera looks at whether the championship window is narrowing for the Ravens veteran core. And our special travel section, with a look at sports tourism options throughout Maryland for you and your family to enjoy this summer. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCRs. Continue along on a Monday edition of the program. CountySports.zone is the website for everything related to high school sports. We're just days away from the start of high school football season here in the state of Maryland. Find out everything, scores, schedules, rankings, news updates, every sport, every school, every level, every part of the state. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Real quick, because I missed it, Jeff said, you're absolutely right about Dean Kramer tonight. He will have the game of his life. He won't have another quality start the rest of the year. I still have no problem with the Orioles trading him, but he will be studying, and he knows all of these teams' tendencies, and he will overwhelm them. Yeah, I mean, that's what my gut tells me. I don't know that Dean Kramer's going to be a difference maker. I think he had a good first start as a Twin last week. I want to make sure that I don't botch this. So, game log. Last game at Kansas City. This was the 5th, so this was last Wednesday. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 2 walks. Pretty good. It's the Royals, but that's pretty good. I have no idea whether or not that's going to be sustainable for Dean Kramer. I do think he's still capable of putting together streaks of very solid performances. Obviously, it was a lot better than the last couple of times we saw him as an Oriole. But yeah, that's what my gut tells me. My gut tells me that he goes out and dominates tonight. And then from Craig. Craig said, Glenn, heard you guys talking Preakness this morning on BAL. What do you think the timeline is for when these guys will get their act together and get this solved? As I said last week, I think it's totally possible that their plans last through the year. I think that's plausible, but they'll get it fixed eventually. All right, I believe joining us now here on GCR, of course, you know him from Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports, NBCSports.com. He's our buddy Mike Florio, and he is with us once again here on GCR. Mike, what's up, pal? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great, man. This was an interesting theory from you last week. Can you walk me through? I think, look, there was some sticker shock from some folks about the number that Zay Flowers got, but we know how this thing works. If you're good and the team wants you, then this is the cost. And while he doesn't look like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, he's very productive. They wanted him. That's what it was going to cost. But it was interesting to hear your thought that maybe there's even a little bit more to that than just Zay Flowers' value on the football field.
Well, I think back to 2023 and the weeks before Lamar Jackson and the Ravens finally worked out a long overdue contract. They signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a one-year deal that paid him $15 million. And I can guarantee you there was no one else that was going to pay OBJ anywhere close to $15 million, fully guaranteed to join the team. But that move, I believe, was part of the effort to get Lamar on board with signing his contract and sticking around. So to the extent that the Ravens are hoping now that the contract that has 2 years left on it will be extended, and there is clearly a desire by the Ravens.
Oh, apologies, Mike. I think we lost you there. I don't know what's happening technology-wise, but we will try to get that figured out. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, and I get his theory, and I have thought about that for some time. In fact, I've joked about it with some folks related to the Ravens. Mike, are you back? Do we have you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that. We lost you there for a second. But the comparison is very real to me. Like, there's almost a joke that I've talked about with some people from the Ravens, like that people would say, hey, Odell Beckham wasn't worth $15 million, and they'll laugh and say, that was the best $15 million we ever spent. But, do you feel like it's direct? I mean, I think we all thought the Flowers deal was going to get done at some point. Do you feel like there's anything direct about the timing of it?
Well, I think everything's connected. It's a broader strategy of how you build a team. And look, I don't want to take anything away from Zay Flowers. He's been very good. And the reality is the salary cap goes up every year. The market changes every year. We see where it's gone from the time that Justin Jefferson became the highest paid guy at $35 million in new money APY 2 years ago. It's gone to $40 last year with Jamar Chase, $42.15 million this year with Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's only going to keep going up and up. And these deals quickly become outdated if a guy continues to play at a high level, and then you have to go back to the table and maybe fix it. And that's what the Vikings may have to do sooner than later with Jefferson's deal, because all of these guys look at what everyone's making, and they will say to themselves, or maybe others, something's wrong with this picture. But it's always moving upward. As long as the cap goes up every single year and the market keeps going up because of it, guys are going to keep getting these contracts that become eye-popping to the outsiders.
Is there? Have you heard anything more about the Ravens' attempts to get Lamar's deal done? Like, he's being very hush-hush about it, and I get the sense that they would do it tomorrow if he wanted to do it, but have you heard anything more about that?
It wouldn't be a difficult deal to do. Steve Bisciotti made it clear back in January they want to get it done. Let's just take the formula that we used the last time, put in new numbers, reconfigured. It's not all that hard to put him in the upper echelon now, which, because the Patrick Mahomes contract is $64 million per year in new money average. He's got $104 million on the books this year and next year combined. And they want to do it. I think at the end of the day, they'll get something done. There's plenty of speculation out there about his future. He has a ton of leverage because of his ability to walk away in March of 2028. They can't use the franchise tag. The cap numbers keep going up and up. The only way to manage that is with a new contract that kicks more of those cap dollars into future years as the cap goes up, and each cap dollar means relatively less in future years. But yeah, they need to get it worked out. Right now, I believe that they will work something out at the appropriate time. For whatever reason, right now isn't the appropriate time.
Mike, do you think there's any risk? We allude to the idea that Zay Flowers, this is just the way that it works. Is there any risk in paying someone that type of dollar value that, for everything they are, isn't that play? Like, we talk about this with quarterbacks, right? Like, when you're a quarterback, you come up for a deal, you're just going to get whatever that deal is, but not every quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Is there any risk to giving that type of deal to a Zay Flowers?
Well, we've seen the market at quarterback spread now where the low end for a veteran starter is around 20, the high end is 64, and it's no longer the next guy up becomes the highest paid player at the position. There was a time, 2018, where every guy that got a new deal was pushing the bar a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. So for a guy like Lamar Jackson, he's going to be at the high end. For Zay Flowers, hey, $35 million is still $7 million per year behind the current top of the market.
That's
you
fair.
put that over a 4-year extension, that's $28 million. So maybe the receiver position is starting to do that as well. And the risk for the team is if it doesn't pan out, then you got to figure out when you can exit and what it will cost you in cap consequences if you exit, what it will cost you in cash that you may still owe. But I look at it this way. Every year before free agency, the red flag that I run up the poll is that here's a guy, any given free agent, here's a guy who has been with a team for multiple years, for rookies, at least 4 years, maybe 5, and his current team, for whatever reason, isn't paying him what he wants. Well, they know him better than anyone. So if you're going to pay somebody who you've been with, and in this case, 3 years with Zay Flowers, they know everything there is to know about him. So they're making a much more educated wager than a team makes when it brings in a free agent that has no prior connection to the team.
Mike Florio with us here on GCR. Mike, we've talked a few times this offseason about the receiver position, and my opinion has always been that, I think it's risk. Just after they signed Zay Flowers, they had a huge scare on Saturday where he goes down with an injury. Now, as it turns out, it's not significant. He's just going to be out for a few days, maybe, who knows, a week or two. It's the preseason. They're not worried about Zay, but I don't know. That was a massive reminder to me of. I know they're in love with Jacoby Lane and everybody that's out at practice. He's a third-round pick. I'm not ready to jump on board and say he's a solution just yet. I thought that was a massive reminder to me this weekend when Zay Flowers went down that you're still, for a team that wants to win a Super Bowl, you're taking a giant risk. And even with Stephon Diggs off the table, I was always incredibly interested in Keenan Allen, who is somehow just continues to be productive.
Every roster has a blend of veterans and young players who are under these very advantageous slotted rookie deals where dollar for dollar you often get much more value. But as those guys graduate to veteran contracts, the ones you want to keep, they're going to have to get paid. And the reason that we see so many guys hold in is because they don't want to risk the injury until they get the contract. The biggest part of getting a long-term contract is shifting the injury risk from the player to the team. The problem is now the team has it. And if the guy gets injured, the financial burden is going to fall on the team that still has to pay him some specific guaranteed money this year, next year, however long it takes for him to get healthy again. But that's just part of football. And that's one of the realities of having those high-priced players. You're going to have a nucleus of those guys. And if one of them gets injured, you're going to be spending a lot of money on a guy who's not on the field.
Mike, how's everybody in Buffalo doing after seeing their seats at the stadium on there for their practice on Saturday?
Seeing their seats and not seeing the field.
Correct.
And I never know what to trust on social media, but there was such a flood of these photos and of all the things that anyone would make up. Sight lines impaired and obstructed at this new stadium. That didn't strike me. When I saw so many examples of it, that didn't strike me as something that someone was faking with AI. So they're going to have an issue there, especially if, and I saw at least one tweet where the person did a side-by-side of what he was shown when he committed to his PSL and what he got when he showed up. If there are examples like that, they're going to have a problem.
That's an actual lawsuit, right?
The celebration quickly becomes litigation in Buffalo if people show up and they get a seat that looks nothing like what they were sold when they committed to the PSL.
Boy, but at least their uniforms look good. At least they have that going.
Well, the obstruction comes in handy for not having to
That's
see
a great
it.
point. God
I've
damn.
seen everything from Diet Pepsi can, the old school silver Diet Pepsi can. My first thought was it looks like the old Batman, not the Michael Keaton Batman. This is all the way back
like
to Adam West.
Yeah.
Crayon Gray.
Oh, no doubt with the tights. Oh, you're 100% right about that. Man, I hadn't even seen that yet. It looks awful. I mean, truly awful. Mike, it's interesting to me because obviously these things don't really have anything to do with how they're going to play this year. I do still think the Bills are going to be very good despite their ugly uniforms and many obstructed seats in the stadium. I was having a conversation, however, this morning about the fact that they did choose to continue committing to open-air stadiums. I don't think you and I have ever talked about this. It's something that I've thought about. In Baltimore, they just invested another $600 million into a stadium that can never host a Final Four, can never host anything along those lines. What do you make of the fact that there are still so many teams that say, no, it's an advantage to us, we want to do this, when we know that they don't play Super Bowls in the cold weather, that like the advantage just doesn't seem to be there the way that we talked about it once upon a time?
Well, that's the other side of the equation that has teams like the Browns, the Bears, the Chiefs flocking into a dome and making that pitch that if we do this, we'll be able to have events all year round. We can compete for the biggest events. Now, you have to have the infrastructure in the city to host the Super Bowl. Buffalo wouldn't be able to do that. Cleveland is going to have to like double its hotel capacity in order to ever even have a chance to host a Super Bowl. But that's the balance. And there's something to be said for football in the elements. It becomes an advantage. And the more teams go into domes for their home games, the more of an advantage it becomes for the teams that play open air in a cold weather climate, because you're going to have a growing group of teams that are accustomed to having the climate controlled perfect elements, and they're going to build their team accordingly. When it's time to go outside in November, December, and January, they're going to have a problem.
That's interesting. Obviously, the Bills haven't been able to use it yet to their advantage to win a title, but it's an interesting thought. All right, I want to run one more by you because it's a conversation we're having. Obviously, Hall of Fame weekend this past weekend, the Roger Craig stuff, incredibly moving. Really another very loaded class next year in Baltimore. We want to see Terrell Suggs, Marshall Yanda get in, and they were both in the final 7 a year ago. But it's a loaded class. I look at Rob Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson, and Ben Roethlisberger. It's really hard for you to tell me that any of those three guys aren't slam dunk, first ballot the definition of a Hall of Famer. Do you think that any of those three guys are at risk of not going in immediately to the Hall of Fame?
Well, Peterson had that experience in 2014 where he missed almost all of the season on what was called, I think they called it commissioner exempt list right out of the gates. That's how they dealt with Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, and Greg Hardy when those three things all happened in September of 2014. So does that affect him? I don't know. Does Roethlisberger's suspension from 2010, which was largely forgotten by the end of his career, but he had a fairly significant off-field issue that didn't result in prosecution, could have. There was a similar incident that resulted in a civil lawsuit in Nevada involving Roethlisberger. So he went through some stuff. And here's the reality at the end of the day, and the omission of Bill Belichick is the latest example of it. You've got 50 human beings making these decisions. Who the hell knows what they are going to allow to enter their minds when it's time to cast their ballots? And there has been an effort in recent years to make it a little bit harder to get in. And I think that's in response to criticism from folks like Deion Sanders that too many are getting in. I don't think that's how you handle the problem, because they've already let a flood of people in under a lower bar. You don't just suddenly raise the bar. I don't believe that's the right way to handle it, but it's created this voting process that contributed to Belichick not getting in. So because of that, I think Gronkowski is the only no-brainer, slam dunk, and he is literally no-brainer. He would say so himself. But slam dunk, he's in. The others, we're just going to have to wait and see who else is in the group of finalists, and then we have to sit back and wait and see how the 50 people vote. And there's also a possibility they're going to make further changes to the rules. There was a board of directors meeting on Friday. I haven't heard whether anything did change. But that Belichick thing was such a horrible look. Whatever you think of Belichick, he had to be in. And I think it hurts the image and reputation of the Hall of Fame that one of the greatest coaches in any sport ever, greatest game prep coach ever, didn't get in.
Yeah, you put him on the ballot and they said no. It sort of makes the entire process look like a sham. I don't disagree with you whatsoever. Mike, you want to remind everybody about Big Shield?
Big Shield available on Amazon, ebook 99 cents, print edition $14.99. Still very relevant to so many of the gambling scandals that are popping up. It's a cautionary tale about the intersection between professional sports and this world of legalized gambling. And yeah, check it out. Every once in a while, I decide to go soft and make it available for free for a day. So you never know when that's going to happen. But again, it's only 99 cents.
Right.
So think of how expensive everything is. You can buy nothing for 99 cents.
It's a fact. That is a fact. Pro Football Talk, you're, of course, seeing them everywhere. Mike, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for working through our tech issues. Mike Florio with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. Let me just follow up on a couple of things there. The Buffalo stuff, Griffin showed the pictures. It's so deeply embarrassing. Like, I know this wasn't a game this weekend. This was like a practice. But to Mike's point, like, legitimately, the possibility that you showed someone a seat on, like, this is what your seat's going to look like, and then they got there and they saw something else. These are massive numbers that you're talking about. This is not, you know, hey, you went to a concert and we had to move you. We had to. I can tell you as a fact that this actually happened to some folks who went to the Paul McCartney concert at the baseball stadium. I assume it happened for the other baseball stadium concerts, where like they try to configure on the baseball diamond in concept how many seats they're going to be able to get down. And then you get to the day of the concert, and it's slightly different than what you thought when they actually go lay the seats out. And then, like, the fire marshal comes in and says, hey, you didn't have enough room here for people to be able to get out, so you got to move some things around, and you got to move somebody from but you're normally able to take care of them pretty simply. You're talking about, like, PSLs. This is a lot of money that's involved with this. And this is, I mean, look, yeah, the see-through glass, I don't know, that's of all the issues. And I understand that, like, stadiums have to have railings on the upper deck. I do get that where, like, the press box overhanging past seats. And I think I saw someone say that, like, some of these seats, they've been told the Bills will not be selling for game days. Why do they exist?
Yeah. So you sell them for, like, a concert?
What am I missing? Why would that seat exist if you can't use it for a football game? But that's their problem. There's and apparently the screen is tiny. That's the other thing that everybody's complaining about. That's their problem. They can deal with that and their ugly uniforms, the whole deal. The Hall of Fame, it is interesting to me. It's funny because when I looked at the list, this is just me. When I looked at the list, I thought there's 3 guys to me that are slam dunks. And of the 3, I actually thought that Adrian Peterson was the one that maybe just because the nature of the running back position, like if one of these guys has to wait, maybe Adrian Peterson has to wait.
All the other guys that have rushed for 2,000 yards, do they have to wait? I mean, I guess OJ. But
Jamal Lewis never got into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Like, hang on a second. List of all 2,000 yards.
Then yeah, I mean,
CJ2K is not in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Would they put? Do you think they? I mean, I guess is he a Hall of Fame?
Is Chris Johnson?
Yeah.
No, he's not a Hall of Fame football player. I mean, obviously we're all thinking about
right.
What he's going through, but he's definitely not a Hall of Fame football player. He's a guy that had an incredible run. Like Jamal had an amazing. To me, I might argue that Jamal Lewis is higher on my list of greatest Ravens than guys who are already in or might end up in the Hall of Fame. Like, I think that we all kind of say the greatest Ravens of all time. Well, no, I guess we got to factor Lamar into this conversation too. But he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, right? We know Lamar is a Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time MVP. So if we the 3 that are already in, right? Ray, Ogden, and Reed, and then the 3 that we know are going to get in, Suggs, Yonda, and Lamar.
Flacco. Oh,
yeah. If those we establish as the 6 just because the standard is Hall of Fame, then the conversation would seem to start with number 7, right? And if you have to say that those are the top 6, then to me there is no debate about who 7 is. It's Jamal Lewis. But I might argue to you that to me Jamal Lewis was more imperative, and a greater overall Raven than even, say, Marshall Yonda, who I think was awesome at his position. But he didn't single-handedly carry an offense.
I believe Trent Dilfer had some touchdown passes during.
Did he, though? Did he? That said, the Jamal's not a Hall of Famer. Chris Johnson's not. All the 2,000-yard rushers. OJ's in. Eric Dickerson's in. Barry Sanders in. Terrell Davis is in. Jamal, CJ2K are not. Then the only other options would be the three that are still, well, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. Henry will get in.
Henry, I assume Henry's getting in, and Saquon Barkley, who seems to be moving into the gonna be in.
Won a Super Bowl, and
it seems like he's moving into that category, but not there yet, perhaps. Look, I think Adrian Peterson's a Hall of Famer. I just think that running back is a difficult one, and out of the three, I thought he was the one that maybe might have to wait if one of them has to wait in order to get some other people in. It's interesting that, it's funny because I still think about the Ben Roethlisberger stuff, but I had kind of almost forgotten about Adrian Peterson and the switch, right? Like, I had forgotten about that. But is that something that the voters say, hey, we made Belichick wait 1 year because of Deflategate, or there's enough, even if it's not coordinated, because I'm not suggesting that the voters coordinated to make Belichick wait a year. I just think there were enough voters who said, I'm going to, much like they've done with some baseball players, like Roberto Alomar, for some people, had to wait a year because he spit on an umpire once. It's a real thing. There were voters that said, I'm going to vote for him. He's obviously a Hall of Famer, but I'm just not going to vote for him this year as punishment for the time that he spit on an umpire. I think that there are a few people that did that with Bill Belichick last year. Might not come out and say it, but my gut tells me that a few of the voters said, yes, obviously Hall of Famer, but he can wait 1 year as punishment, at least for me, for Spygate, really Spygate, because I don't know Deflategate you really put on him. It's really about Spygate. Do enough voters say the same thing about either Adrian Peterson or Ben Roethlisberger? Obviously, they're Hall of Famers, but maybe this one thing is enough for us to say, but not this year. And maybe somebody felt that way about Terrell Suggs and, some of the allegations that have been made during the course of his career that never, went anywhere, either legally or, with the NFL. Obviously, it's good that both of those guys were in the top 7 last year. You know who's funny to me? Like, of all the other names on this list, I think I was just looking at the odds from.
They have odds up? Wow.
No, I had to go to Bet Online to get these. I don't think that any of the normal books. They only have for the first year eligible. They have Gronk at 96% to get in next year. And look, man, like, what are we? Rob Gronkowski. What is the debate?
That the longevity, I guess, like that.
Dude, stop it! Stop.
He didn't catch enough touchdowns.
I mean, Calvin Johnson got in. I guess Patrick Willis had to wait a year, but Calvin Johnson got in, and I think Gronk had a longer career than Calvin Johnson, didn't he?
Yeah. Or because he came back, I guess. How does that affect? Does that count as a season?
Who?
Because Gronk retired and then
and then came back. So it does absolutely. It counts as another season. How many seasons total did Gronk play? 8.
10 to 18, so that's 9, and then so 19 was the only year. So yeah, he played 10 years.
He played 10 years.
Yeah.
There's no debate. There's no debate about Rob Gronkowski. None. That is, as Mike jokes about the no-brainer thing, that is where the presenter stands up and says, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Gronkowski. On with your day. They've got Peterson.
Oh, he's recruited by Maryland? I didn't know that. Why didn't he pick the Terps?
I don't remember his brothers, Dan played at Maryland. Was it just Dan? I thought there was another brother that played. Did Chris play at Maryland too? Dan definitely.
I was like 10 years old.
Dan definitely played at Maryland. I want to say maybe Chris played at Maryland.
Dan and Chris.
Yeah, both?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
gosh, well, I guess they were good those years. relative.
So I don't
Okay,
want
sorry.
I do remember it was funny when he was coming out. I mean, he was connected heavily to the Ravens, and he was with Rosenhaus, and Rosenhaus had reached out to me and said, we were wondering, and this is at the old radio station, would you want to do a weekly segment, a draft diary segment with Gronk?
With Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah. And I was like, sure. Like, okay, no problem. We'll do that. And the way that it worked timing-wise is it made most sense for our midday show, which was hosted by Thurl Nelson. And, like, Thurl, who's a great guy, but, like, got out of the business when he's, I think, doing mortgages or I love Thurl. God bless him. Like, I got to imagine he's been trying to tell people for, like, years that he needs them. I used to do a weekly radio show with Rob Gronkowski, which is a legitimate thing that happened on the old radio station. There was a Rob Gronkowski appearance once a week for something like 5 months. Like, it was a very lengthy thing. Still wonder if I still have his number. I mean, we called him a couple times.
Oh, Gronk? Okay, yeah, so last year you shared the story about, that the Ravens were going to pick him.
Yeah.
At 25.
Oh, yeah.
On, this is Edelman's podcast? Might be able to pull it. Is it worth it? I don't know.
No, I don't care that much.
Okay.
I don't care that much. I do still have. I think we figured out it might not be his number anymore. I think a couple years ago we were, like, I feel like for the first couple of years that he was in the NFL, he still answered. I absolutely remember when the Ravens were getting ready to play the Patriots in the AFC Championship game that we called him and he was just like, dude, I would, but, like, I play for Belichick now. Like, it was.
If he finds out.
It was exactly like, I remember, God, I wish maybe Ryan would remember it well. I remember, like, that week I said to Ryan, like, dude, just call. He used to come on this radio station once a week. Just call him. And Ryan was like, okay. And because I had set the whole thing up. So Ryan, like, calls him. And I swear to God, it was exactly what you would think it would sound like. Oh, bro, I would. Like, I like you guys. But, like, it's Belichick, man. Like, it was very direct. I was like, I understand.
Fair enough.
I get it. Okay. I get it.
So first ballot human, that's what, as well. That's the.
I mean, I don't know if he's like a philanthropist, but
yeah, but if he's willing to go on the Baltimore radio stations, then
once a week,
that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
They only have Roethlisberger at 29%, so they definitely seem to think that he's going to be punished.
Obviously, Eli has to get in before him.
I mean, you're not really comparing those. Ben Roethlisberger is 1 billion times above Eli Manning. Like, it's not close between the two of them as far as their careers are concerned. If the only argument for Eli Manning Hall of Famer is beat Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls. That's the only Eli Manning argument. His career is not close to Hall of Fame. It's just the eternal, but can you tell the history of the NFL of football without Eli Manning?
And it's Manning.
But I could say the same thing. Well, then can you tell Eli Manning without telling David Tyree, right? Like, I've always found that to be an
I would have
awkward...
caught that ball. If Eli threw it, I would have caught that ball.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I always find that to be an awkward way that we try to phrase somebody not being deserving but being deserving. Like, were they a Hall of Famer or not? Nothing about Eli Manning's career says Hall of Fame. The only argument is won 2 Super Bowls. And does everyone who wins 2 Super Bowls need to get into the Hall of Fame? I mean, I made peace that at some point I think he's getting in, but...
You're upset about it.
I'm not upset about it. Like,
can't tell the history of the NFL without Flacco either.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm mostly indifferent towards the idea of him getting into the Hall of Fame, but, like, there's no... If they put Eli Manning in over Ben Roethlisberger, like, what are we doing?
Well, Ben gets in the next year.
Eli can get in the next year.
But he's a Manning.
I understand that. I told
he does Monday Night Football.
You know, Archie isn't in the Hall of Fame. You're aware of that, right? It's not just all of the Mannings.
One day.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get in. They've got Ben Roethlisberger at 29%. Richard Sherman, they've got at 11%. I definitely think Richard Sherman, to me, is ultimately a Hall of Famer. Doesn't come off as sure first ballot, but I do think he's ultimately a Hall of Famer. The funny thing is I look at the rest of the list, and I'm like, the only other guy that when I saw the list, because Luke Jackson was texting me the other day, the only other guy that I looked at and said, oh, dude, to me that's a Hall of Famer, nobody agrees with me apparently. So the rest of the group is Antonio Brown, who, again, for a stretch of time we thought was definitely on his way to the Hall of Fame, but no. Former Raven Eric Weddle, hell of a player, not to me a Hall of Famer. Yeah, great guy, a really good player. Andrew Whitworth, who they have at 6%.
I think he's. I guess maybe just because he played so long, that's the only reason.
I think that's all. I don't think of Andrew Whitworth as being one of the great offensive linemen of all time. I think of him as being a good one, like one that you wanted on your team, but I just don't think of him that way. Cam Newton, no. I mean, like, again, a guy who for a minute, when he was at his best.
He won one MVP.
He did win one MVP. Alex Mack, Le'Veon Bell, and then the one that to me, when
Ravens legend.
That's right. When you say this name, I say Hall of Famer, but nobody seems to agree with me, so maybe I'm just vastly overrating him. But Gerald McCoy is the other name on the list. And, like, when I hear Gerald McCoy's name, I think, dude, that guy was as good as anyone. Like, short of Aaron Donald. But they've got him at 1.5%, and I have not sensed much in the way of conversation about Gerald McCoy. But he's the only other, like, to me, he's a Hall of Famer. And I'm not saying first ballot, but, like, to me, he's a Hall of Famer. And, you know, nobody seems to agree with me about that.
I guess it might just, maybe that's the longevity thing, too. Like, he didn't play. He played 10 seasons, I think.
I didn't realize it was only 10 seasons. I mean, I do remember he retired early, but I didn't realize it was only 10. Still, I mean, whatever. All right, when we come back in, two things I want to do. One, I want to share just a couple of thoughts about Jacoby Lane. Two, you probably read what it was that David Rubenstein said in this event that he was doing on trade deadline day. But hearing the audio of it, which was shared by Gary Williams, Stole My Furniture, it really is kind of compelling to hear it. So we're going to do both those things. Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. Thank you. We're going to do both those things when we come back in. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Don't fumble your fantasy football draft. Host your party at Sports and Social Inside Live Casino. We've got everything you need to make a night a winner with massive screens, cool drinks, great food, and Wi-Fi that won't drop the ball. Reserve your table by August 20th to enter our early draft bonus drawing. Draft like a pro at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnkin LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnken LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. So obviously everybody is freaking out about Jacoby Lane. And we all love getting excited about lots of things in the month of August. There is a never-ending list of players over the years that we have been excited about in the month of August. Maybe Ron Johnson comes to mind, or I feel like I'm just going to name nothing but wide receivers. But Tandon Doss had some moments in August. Like, a lot of wide receivers have had moments in August. So my inclination, when everybody starts freaking out about Jacoby Lane, and you can pull up Jamison Hensley had a tweet that got everybody worked up about Jacoby Lane this weekend. When everybody starts freaking out about, oh my gosh, look at the training camp so-and-so is having, my immediate inclination is to say, whoa. Pump the brakes. Chill out. It's August. It's training camp. Nothing matters. Nothing. There is nothing to say yet. I say all that to say, I don't want to discourage you from wanting to be excited. I don't want to discourage you from it. Because I understand that, that's what we have right now. All we have is they're running around. And we want to be fired up for football season. Yes, Jamison Hensley said, in 27 years of covering the Ravens, I'm not sure I've seen a rookie have a training camp quite like wide receiver Jacoby Lane. Every day, Lane produces a highlight-making catch, and today he has Derrick Henry leaping in the air in celebration and shared a video the Ravens shared. And I'm not trying to say that Jamison's wrong or that I don't think he's lying. It's just that I always say my inclination is settle down. Pump the brakes. The only mitigating factor to me, because I'm telling you, when this morning over in BAL, we were talking about it, and I'm like, all right, come on. Let's let him play a football game before we get carried away. And I don't even mean the one Saturday against the Eagles. I mean an actual football game.
Talking about first ballot Hall of Famers. It sounds like we got one.
Right, Jacoby Lane. I hope Jacoby Lane proves to be an outstanding wide receiver. I hope he proves to be the prototype that the Ravens have needed to go to pair with Zay Flowers. I hope he's all of that and more. None of this to me matters in the discussion of whether Jacoby Lane will be that guy or not. I'm glad he's having a great camp. I think that's awesome. Get back to me in September. The only thing that mitigates it is that part of my natural inclination to be dismissive of a great training camp for a rookie is that I am used to John Harbaugh and John Harbaugh's staff forcing rookies, other than first-round picks, still to earn their way towards even playing time. That my gut has been, even if they blow you away in camp, they're barely going to get snaps. Tez Walker could look great in training camp, but he's barely going to get snaps. That still has to be earned. I don't know. It's the only thing I can say. It's possible that Jesse Minter and Declan Doyle have the opinion of, dude, whoever has the best camp, that's going to be who it is that gets the most opportunities. We have no idea. One of them's never been a head coach before. The other one's never been a play caller before. We have no clue. So who knows? Maybe Jacoby Lane is winning not just opportunity, but like maybe he could be the number 2 receiver on this team.
Yeah, maybe better than Zay.
They did just pay the guy.
So
I hear you.
He's not having. He's hurt now.
Settle down. I would always tell you, keep it in your pants.
No.
Always.
No.
I'm glad. It can't hurt that Jacoby Lane is having an exceptional training camp. It can't hurt anyone unless he gets hurt. Then it would really hurt. It's not a bad thing, but it's like what I talk about quarterbacks getting together with receivers in the offseason. There is no parallel between had a great training camp, proved to be a great NFL player very quickly. No parallel between those two things. Plenty of guys who have gone on to be very good NFL players didn't splash or pop during training camp. So ease up. We get it. No games. This is all we've got. We want to be excited about the Ravens. I hope Jacoby Lane proves to be a great player. But I would always say let's be realistic and be reasonable about it and maybe not set a standard that's unfair for a third-round pick to be trying to meet in his rookie season. Cool? Thank you.
Yeah, too bad. Hall of Famer.
Sure.
You seen these catches?
I know. They're very impressive. I hope he makes lots of them for a long time to come, but none of them to me matter. They just don't. So last week, oddly on deadline day, David Rubenstein was talking about his book. About ownership, because, who's more qualified to talk about being a great sports owner than a guy who's never won anything? That's not really what the book is about. The book is really about him talking to other people about sports ownership. That's sort of his style. He likes to kind of interview people, and that's what the book is about, and learning things. But he did an event with American University and Alex Rodriguez. Sure.
What do you mean? They have
sure.
Everyone. When you hear American University,
right?
Alex Rodriguez, and vice versa.
When I read from Andy Koska last week in the banner what he had said, I was like, oh, okay, there's something there. But the Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture Twitter account.
They have a show, apparently.
Unfortunate. I mean, I hope they got their lawn furniture back.
But if anyone's going to steal my lawn furniture.
And I'm not trying to be that. Look, these guys might be great. Their show might be fantastic. I just don't know. I apologize. I'm glad you guys pulled this clip. And, I'd love to know the story about Gary Williams and your lawn furniture sometime. There's probably a good story there. They pulled the video of these comments, and something about hearing them really does resonate in a little bit of a different way. Again, this was from the event with American University last Monday. David Rubenstein talking about being the owner of the Baltimore Orioles.
Well, so I don't know. I guess sometimes if you're successful at some things, you can be successful at other things as well. You just have some skill sets, and I haven't yet been as successful in sports as I would like to be, but I'm, hope springs eternal.
Yeah, it is interesting. I have to say, David, I've known you for a long time. It's amazing to see how intensely engaged in this you are. I mean, have you surprised even yourself?
I have. I'm surprised. I mean, look, I didn't go to that many baseball games until I did this. Now I'm going to baseball games. I'm paying attention to statistics, and people are walking up to me on the streets in Baltimore and saying, "Hey, your player's not doing well. Why don't you get this pitcher? Why don't you trade this one?" I mean, literally, I'm surprised about it. But you get to relive your youth a little bit. So maybe it's making me a little younger. I don't know. But I enjoy it. I don't have any regrets about doing it. I just wish I could. Look, to be honest, here's what happened. I bought a team that was heavily criticized by some for not putting enough money in. Okay. So the team was in first place in the American League East when I bought it, the year before I bought it. I've now taken them to last place. So I put in a lot of money. I've tripled with Mike Arrogate and I have tripled the salaries, yet we went from first place to last place. So, it's a little frustrating and embarrassing. I'm really embarrassed about it, but I'm trying to do what I can to fix it and turn it around. And, we'll see. I hope when my obituary is written, they will say World Series champion rather than Carlisle co-founder as the headline. But at this point, I'm not sure it'll get that way.
I don't know. There's just something about hearing it, right?
Yeah.
There's something about it. I don't know how to explain it. Like the way that he says embarrassed, like he's not really laughing. Now David Rubenstein, I've had a couple of conversations with him, is a bit different in the way like he's I'm trying to find a way to describe my interactions with David Rubenstein. It's not as he's not going out of his way to be agreeable when he has a conversation with you. I'll do that constantly, where I'll try to reassure, make sure we're on the same page, like those types of things. David Rubenstein's not like that. So he's not just going to throw in a laugh for the sake of throwing in a laugh. And maybe he would say, oh, I really was kidding. It just doesn't come across that way from me. But like when you hear him
it sounds sincere. Like
and he says it twice, right? Like he says frustrating, embarrassing, and then he follows it up again by like the way that he says it. It definitely feels like he is frustrated by it. Now there's a bunch of different ways of looking at that. The first way of looking at that is him saying, maybe I shouldn't have spent the money. Right? And that's if there's one thing that concerned me most. I remember I've talked about it before when we were over at 105.7 the day that everything happened.
Sure.
And everybody was just, this is the greatest day ever. And my immediate reaction was, okay, but he is private equity. And if there's something we know about private equity, it's maximize profits, minimize expenditures. So while you guys, like my thought was, I get it. I understand why everybody feels this way, but I am going to kind of reserve judgment until I see what he's actually going to do. And then when they traded for Corbin Burns, I was like, that's it. I was wrong. Let's have a parade. So hearing that, there's a part of me that hears what he's really embarrassed about is that he spent money. It's not really about the results of the team. What he's really embarrassed about is that I paid more for salaries and I don't have anything to show for it. So you know what? I might as well just not even pay these. Like that's
really?
No. I'm not telling you.
Okay.
I'm saying that's one way that you can read it.
Okay.
And I don't think is off the table. The second way to read it is when he says, I'm going to try to do everything I can to fix it. Right? Like, well, that sounds like, all right.
Yeah.
We haven't done enough. We've got to be more involved. We've got to be more direct. We've got to offer more money. He's embarrassed. He wants to fix it.
The Steve Cohen kind of
You see how well that's worked out.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Then the third part is when he says, I hope that my obituary says World Series champion, but at the rate we're going, I don't know. Which is a lot different from come hell or high water, we're going to win a World Series. So part of hearing it and that I thought about afterwards was if what your takeaway is he's hell-bent on fixing it. If that's what you choose to have as the primary takeaway. He's embarrassed. He's going to be hell-bent to fix this. Then someone might say, then why was he because then maybe he's going to fire Mike Elias, right? Like if you're someone who believes that, then why were they allowing Mike Elias to again sell without buying? The Orioles might look like a better overall organization. They might have a better organizational talent, but they are certainly not closer to winning a World Series after the events of last week. If the takeaway is you're hell-bent on winning a World Series, might you have not said, Mike, you can trade Adley Rutschman if you have to. but you better go out and find us something. We're not doing this kick the tire down the road to 2020. Sorry, at this point, 2030. There's a part of me that wants to say this is just David Rubenstein, who again is so involved that on deadline day, he was talking about his book. I heard Vinny on my way in bring up like it is interesting that like on deadline day the owner was talking about his book, the manager was at Ravens practice, which would in and of itself would suggest that there's no debate about who has all of the power. So if you think that Mike Elias is the problem, and you are hoping that what David Rubenstein is telling you is that, like, I know that's got to be fixed, and I'm going to be the actual evidence we have is just that Mike Elias has more and more complete control. So that's why I don't know what to make of it. Like, hearing it really is interesting to me. But deducing, I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know what to deduce from this.
I mean, I guess because he constantly talks about obviously wants to be remembered as a World Series champion and like.
But then he immediately says, "But I don't know."
Right.
But I don't know.
I mean, well, and maybe that's how honest he is. He's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how, and I think Mike Elias does, and I'm going to keep giving him. I'm going to keep giving him the funds to.
But how do we take? How do you make heads or tails of that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it made me feel good hearing that. I think I did.
Does it? I don't know.
I mean, I don't want my owner. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather him say he's embarrassed than say I don't care.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, like, yeah, if we hadn't heard from him, I mean, yeah, it feels like Steve Bisciotti, and we hear from him once a year.
I don't really care if it's if he goes and does the same thing and says, well, to me, success isn't really about whether you win. I don't do a good Rubenstein.
Actually, that wasn't bad though.
It was closer than I wanted it. I don't really care about whether. No,
I think it's there.
I'm not going to do it.
It's not bad.
I'm going to choose not to do it.
All right, you'll keep working.
Choose. No, I'm
we'll practice after the show.
Not to do it. If that's him, if
I want my obituary.
Now, are we going to do dueling Rubenstein? Is that what it's going to be?
Well, if you're not going to do it, then
if he said, guys, I got to be honest with you. To me,
wait, who's this talking? I can't really.
Being a successful owner is about your bottom line and how much money you make. It's not really about. Didn't the owner of the Angels? Didn't Kevin bring that up last week when Artie Moreno before the year said, "I don't even think fans care about winning a championship." I definitely would prefer that he say he's embarrassed than to say I don't care at all.
Yeah, apparently he said winning is not a top 5 priority for
fans.
That's
what it was. That's exactly what it was. But how do you make heads or tails of I'm embarrassed, but we're just going to keep doing the same things? Because again, if you believe they're going to do things differently, then I don't think that Mike Elias is carte blanche. Go do whatever you want to do. Sell off pieces. It's all you, Chief. And the thing that you're trying to thread the needle of, I want to win a World Series and I just have this much faith in Mike Elias that he can do it. Based on what? You just said you're embarrassed.
Based on Mike Elias teaching him what, FIP is,
Yeah, sure.
He's learning what stats are.
But he's embarrassed by that. So I can't make heads or tails of it.
Right. I mean the Mets are an interesting, I guess, one to look. I mean, obviously their payroll's not anywhere near what the Mets are, but like the Orioles have handed out 4. We did the tidbit last week where they've given out in the last 12 months. They've given out 4 of the top contracts in franchise history.
Right. Now, some of that is the bar was very low.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Part of that is there wasn't a lot to compete with, but they have invested. I can't say they haven't. They have invested money. They haven't given out mega contracts, but who would you want to give a mega contract to?
Right. Right. I mean, they pay Gunnar and he's Francisco Lindor. And Lindor's been terrible this year.
I mean, it's the Blue Jays gave Vlad Guerrero a mega contract.
Yeah, and it worked out last year.
Now you're like, he's still going to be Vlad Guerrero, right?
Does he still have 3 homers? He's got more than that now.
He's got to have more than that. I've not been paying that close of attention. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what my big takeaway is. It was interesting hearing it. It would be really interesting if, to me, it would be fascinating if they gave him that much control over the deadline and then change their mind 2 months later. Like what happened? Like what changed? And I get it. That's the Orioles knew they were moving on from, and everybody involved knew that there was going to be a parting between the Orioles and Dan Duquette in 2018. But yet they still let him run the trade deadline because somebody had to do it, and he was the one trading Manny Machado, despite the fact that whatever he acquired, it wasn't going to matter. He wasn't going to see it come to fruition. Somebody does have to be the GM. So I'm not saying that like giving him full control over the deadline or the front office, I guess the better way of saying it, means that there's no way they could fire him in a couple months. But it is always an odd combination of things, right? Like you can make these big, significant trades, but we don't actually have any faith in you. Like that's an odd juxtaposition. We'll see. We'll see. I'm glad. I wish he would say that to the fan base. I wish that David Rubenstein. Now, maybe he was just like hoping that was never going to be public, although he knew it was. Yeah. I don't know. But like maybe he doesn't want, like, you always do, like, you know, with the.
I mean, like, so, like, what if the Orioles account at 7:00 they have Michael Elias does his Zoom or whatever, but and then or at 8:00 or something, there's an official statement from Rubenstein. It's a 90-second video of him, I guess, reciting that. I mean, like,
some version of it.
Would we have hated that though? I don't. Like,
I mean, I don't think they would.
They were pushing it out.
I bet the Orioles don't like that he used the term embarrassed, only because that. These guys are still there, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they always worry about the sensitivities of these guys. They do. Like, that's why they used to do a lot more like programming on Masson. They don't even really want to do much programming because they worry about the sensitivities of players. They do. Whether that should be a concern or not, there's plenty of markets that would say, we don't give a rat's ass about your sensitivities. But I say plenty. It's fewer than there were. You know, like, what did the players walk in and say, "What this guy says he's embarrassed? We're 2 games out of a playoff spot. We're trying."
Yeah, but they know they're 4 games under 500.
They know that they've been disappointing. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. I just feel like the Orioles would have preferred he use a different word. Like, I think they would be fine with frustrated. I think they would say we're all frustrated, but they wouldn't like embarrassed because they would say, "Hey, it's not over. Like we're not where we want to be, but that could change. A week of good baseball could change all of that." That's what I would think they would say. But the point is taken, which is it would be nice for you just traded Adley Rutschman, the owner of the team, the control person, to say, we understand how frustrating this is for Orioles fans. We understand that you were invested heavily in Adley Rutschman. We are frustrated that it got to this point. And we wish that it would have worked out for Adley to be here long term. But we are going to keep working to do everything in our power to win a World Series. I think that would have been a good thing. And as I said, I don't think owners have to talk to teams. I know a lot of people believe that. Well, you get public money, you should have to be accountable. That's not part of it. We don't say, here's $600 million if you do hostage videos or assert X number of press conferences. But I do think that owners should choose to. And I like that they do. I want owners to choose to speak more and to be available at more. To be fair, he was just there at a press conference literally 2 Fridays ago. And did answer questions. Said he was thrilled with Mike Elias. Couldn't be more thrilled. Then a few days later, he's embarrassed. I mean, not about Mike Elias. He didn't say that directly, but like, it's quite, again, another interesting juxtaposition. Couldn't be more thrilled versus embarrassed. That's an interesting combination of two feelings to have in a short period of time.
Well, yeah, it sounds like one was in the warehouse, and they talked to him 2 minutes before he went on stage and said, "This is what you're supposed to say." And
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think he's.
I mean, I feel like somebody's telling
I think that
saying, try to say this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now this is a much more informal thing that he was doing last week. And
Who knows?
those
All
are
right.
his real thoughts. I think that's what I think.
God, the whip snakes are breaking. They're doing. The whip snakes are worse than the Orioles in terms of finding insane ways to lose.
Jeez.
Holy hell!
So they were down.
man.
They were down 4-0, right? Yeah, they were down. They started down 4-0.
Yeah,
and then they went on a run.
They were up, and
then they were
then
up big, and then
second half goes away.
They don't
And they're
play good
still
third quarters.
they're still in overtime, right? Like
Yeah.
they're still there, and they're getting
And
the
they
ball
find a way to lose
back.
by 2 in overtime.
It's very difficult to do.
I think the refs had it out again. I mean, how can they call
Interference.
Yeah,
You
with
got a
Carroll,
problem
and
with
then they should make him wait. So that
They should make him wait
so that Carroll can get reset in the goal again. I mean, it was an empty netter. Like this isn't a real
that?
shot.
There's a part of me that doesn't like that. That's part of the
Cannon
sport.
shouldn't feel good about that win.
That's what you're saying.
They should
but
probably
but it
rescind
is part of the sport, and you make that's part of the equation, the mental equation that you're doing when you come out of the goal. When you come out of the goal, you know the goal is open if something goes awry. So, like, what inherently I have had that thought before in lacrosse, where like I don't like the idea that it's a situation that could lead to a goal being open, but that isn't. You're not a victim in that spot. You made the decision to come out of the cage, and they did call interference, and Boston got it back. And with Carroll not in the cage, they said, "Oh,
Should he have just launched it into the corner? I don't know.
taken like a
Would they have
delay
lost
penalty."
him?
They
Yeah,
definitely would have.
So they would have lost a man there.
Yeah, they would have been man down. But and by the way, they were in the Bayhawks unit because
Those were
they did the NLL or sorry the MLL like throwback weekend.
Courtesy of ESPN.
No, somebody's got it. I don't remember who it was. You got to have a defender that is sliding to right in front, that recognizes what's going on, even if he has to come off his man.
Is that Ajax? Looks like Zapatello. Yep, he's got his back to the play.
Yeah.
Cut him.
You got. I don't think they're gonna do that. Got to get back there. It's tough. That's tough. Brutal. I don't think they're dead yet. I still
think they're still like 5 and 5.
5 and 6.
Oh, they
I
just
think.
okay. That put them on
5
5
and 6. The charm play for the title this weekend. I think it's up in Philly. Let's get somebody on.
Okay.
They're playing for the championship.
All right.
Let's do that this week. The charm play. I think the Palms, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Ooh, Palms won it
For
again. They want the
the,
Sydney Black again.
Yeah, all right. They believe it is Charm Palms for the WLL title this weekend up in Philly. And anything else on the weekend? Oh, ask me what I think about two men trying to claim to be women so they could be in the WNBA.
What do you think?
So I
do
think
you
it's
think about
time for a
that?
tidbit.
Okay.
Tidbit. Good God. The DeJounte Carrington thing got a lot of attention this weekend too. Hard fouls. I know this is going to be hard to believe. Guys, sometimes white basketball players foul black players, foul other white players, mixed race players. Hard fouls are a part of basketball. Which is, it was also shocking. The outrage to the fact that the coach of the Indiana Fever said, yeah, it was a hard foul.
So it's just because it was on Sophie Cunningham.
Yes.
That's why it
correct.
matters.
Correct. We're just culture warring. Like, that's what we are. How are we going to have a race war if we're not getting on board? I can't believe the coach of the Fever would say, what do you want her to say? Like, this is the first hard foul that's ever, and it cannot, Sophie Cunningham has fouled players exactly like that in her career. Believe it or not, so is Caitlin Clark. It's a hard foul on a breakaway where that's a risk that you take. And it was bad. Like, there's no doubt about that. It was bad, and Carrington deserved to be ejected. Now, her tweeting out white privilege or threading out white privilege afterwards, I know it was added to all of this. I don't know why she chose to do that. I don't have that answer. If I had to guess, it's because, like, say, for example, last year when Sophie Cunningham fouled J.C. Sheldon very hard in a fast break, then yeah, it's bad. There's no getting around that. It's bad. But then Sheldon got up and kind of got in her face, and they both got ejected. So maybe
Yeah, if they eject both, is there less?
What Carrington is mad about is that Cunningham didn't get ejected too after she got up and got in her face. Like, look, I think that was adjudicated appropriately myself. Like, I think that I would always understand the frustration of another player that just got fouled hard and being pissed off about it, and anything short of like cold cocking somebody, I think I'm going to say I don't think that player should be ejected from a game, but I don't know. I also think it's very clear that a lot of WNBA players are not okay with. It's one thing. It's so funny we had this conversation with Robin Lundberg last week. What he's right about is like WNBA players like Caitlin Clark. They're friendly with her. They get along with her. That's fabricated. This idea that there's. Watch how she interacted with players at like All-Star Weekend. Like she's popular. I think the Sophie Cunningham thing might be a little bit different because she is not the caliber of player that Caitlin Clark is, and yet she's been able to get a lot more attention from a very specific group of people, and that probably does rub them the wrong way. That doesn't mean that she's in the right. It doesn't make Carrington in the right. Like it's an egregious foul. You're ejected for it. But Stephanie White's right after the game. Look, it's just a hard foul. Like that, there's never-ending amounts of evidence of hard fouls. It's also, frankly, part of what exists in the WNBA that doesn't exist in the NBA. So people that haven't watched the WNBA are confused by this. But that stuff used to happen all in the NBA in the 1990s. You would see that type of foul all the time. All the time. Constantly. They just stopped playing defense. They just stopped. Oh, yeah, Kevin McHale and Kurt Rambis. God. That's going back. That's going even further than the 90s, obviously. That's going to the 80s. But these fouls were constant. Constant. Like, just go up, grab whatever you can grab, just prevent an easy basket. Now that's like an honor among thieves thing in the NBA, or like a gentleman's like agreement. We're not doing that. Everybody's making too much money. You don't do that. You barely. Don't embarrass yourself and try to play defense. Just give them the 2 points and get on with your life. Like that's the way it works in the NBA. But the WNBA, which is again something we struggled with because a year ago people couldn't believe all this physical defense they were playing against Caitlin Clark. What is this? That's what the WNBA has been. It has been a more physical league.
College basketball. I mean, it's like,
and we haven't seen as many. What changed the NBA was everyone became a three-point shooter. That changed the NBA.
Thanks, Steph Curry.
I mean, it started a little bit before Steph Curry. But, I mean, even those Spurs teams that won titles into the 2000s looked a little bit more like this style. Then everybody started shooting threes. And the NBA changed and adapted to it and said, well, this is what people want to see. Well, Caitlin Clark is the first Steph Curry-esque. I mean, Sabrina Ionescu was more of that than people realize. She just didn't get as much attention as Caitlin Clark. And I don't know why. But Sabrina Ionescu...
She was in Oregon? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe further away. I mean, not like Iowa's the media capital of the world. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea why it was. I mean, but by the way, Sabrina Ionescu's jerseys were like selling out when she was in college. She was a big deal. In a way, she kind of was the foretelling of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. It wasn't the same media phenomenon, but there was definitely an internet phenomenon with Sabrina Ionescu that was very real. But now we're seeing a few more players like that, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if in the next 5 or so years, the league is a less physical league and more of a guard-driven league. Now, that would be bad news for Sophie Cunningham. That'd be tough for her. But I do think that day could come based on the types of players that you're seeing now thrive in the WNBA. But right now, no, there was nothing egregious. It was an egregious foul, but it was not boy, she's out to get her, or the black players all hate the white players. Just stop. It was a basketball foul. It was. And again, just look up Sophie Cunningham, J.C. Sheldon, and you'll see a foul that looks very similar from 1 year ago with the player on the other side. And you'll understand that it's just basketball. And sometimes hard, bad, ugly-looking fouls on fast breaks occur in this league. They just occur more commonly than they do in the NBA. All right, I think that's all I've got to say.
Well, I finally pulled up the J.C. Sheldon. We don't need to share it.
Yeah, you all have it. You want to do it really quickly? Yeah, okay, really quickly. Good God. Oh, we're still not even sharing it on the screen.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Play by play.
No, I'm good. Clearly she hates her. If that happened, if I'm the Attorney General of Florida, I'd arrest her. Maybe it's just basketball, man. Maybe it's just how it works. Don't look good, does it? And then you saw they got into each other's face, and both players got ejected in that particular situation. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by, it's the print issue of Press Box, which is still available, but only for a few more days before it is making way for a brand new issue with a football theme. But go get this one before it's gone. Your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. That's Kevin Brown. You know him. He's on the cover.
Orioles legend found a new team today.
Austin Hayes?
Not Austin.
That was yesterday.
That was last year. Austin Hayes
yesterday.
home run in his
home
debut
run
with the
Padres
Padres.
Debut, yes.
Craig Kimbrell signing a deal
right, I did see that.
with the Royals.
Well,
assuming he pitches for the Royals, which I think he will. I mean, they don't have.
You know what they say? These O's ain't royal.
Yeah. I know he's a traitor, I guess, for leaving his
You're
Orioles
saying
roots.
that kind of love is
12th
for us.
12th. It'll be the 12th team that he appears that he pitches for, assuming he pitches with Kansas City. There are 3 guys who have pitched for more teams than Craig Kimbrell. Assuming he pitches for Kansas City.
Edwin Jackson one of them?
Edwin Jackson is tied for the most teams played for in MLB history. 14 teams. They are.
Irvin Santana?
No, not Irvin Santana. How many teams did Irvin Santana play for?
It's totally possible that I'm just confusing Irvin Santana and somebody else of that ilk.
Maybe Edwin Jackson because he played for.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it might very well be.
Only 5 teams for Irvin Santana. Bad guess. Just bad.
Maybe I really did.
Not uncompetitive guess.
What about? Oh, Rich Hill, right?
Rich
Hill
Hill
doesn't have the record.
14 teams.
Oh,
him and Edwin Jackson are tied. 14 teams.
I thought it was more than
But Rich, because he's played for the Red Sox like 8 times, so it feels like 25.
Is he still pitching at 50 or whatever?
I don't think so. They both played for 14 teams, and then one other guy, a reliever, played for 13 teams.
I don't know if I'm
from 1999 to 2013. Did he play for?
Jason Isringhausen.
No, not Jason Isringhausen. He played for. Why did I think he was like here for?
What about my guy LaTroy Hawkins?
Not LaTroy Hawkins. LaTroy Hawkins played for 11 teams. Okay, that's a competitive guess. I'll give that one to you.
I don't know. You might have to give me something.
Yankees. He's a reliever. I don't know how to give a hint for this. Let's see. Played for them. Started with the Mets. He played 5 seasons with the Astros. The last 2 seasons were with the Detroit Tigers. Was he? No, he was not.
That's not Valverde, is he?
No, not Valverde. Who was pitching? I'm trying to think of who was pitching. Was it Jabba Chamberlain was pitching when Delby?
Oh yeah,
the double?
It was Jabba. Yeah, they went.
He was on. Okay, he wasn't on that 14. He was on the teams the 2 years before that with the Tigers.
Mets, Astros, Dotel.
Yes, Octavio Dotel. 13 teams.
I realized
that he pitched for. What? One position players played for 12 teams.
Julio Franco.
Not Julio Franco.
I don't know.
Matt Stairs.
Oh, okay. I do
Matt
vaguely
Stairs,
remember,
yeah.
like, Matt Stairs played for a lot of teams. That's a
Yeah.
good point. All right. Very good. God, we've gone for 3 hours after I did 7 hours already on radio. What
Just
the
wanted
hell
to
is
keep
happening?
talking about David Rubenstein.
Just hit the thing.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Is it hot in here?
Maybe.
We got a Nelly situation on our hands. It's hot, right?
It might be.
It's hot.
I
It's
turned
hot.
the AC down when I got in here.
What is?
I try to remember. It's
All
too.
right.
It's too cold.
It gets very hot in here. I thought.
This room gets.
Yeah, I don't think
hot,
you realize
John.
how many
Yeah.
computers are in this room, John. It gets really warm.
I'm always very hot in here.
I think
At least,
there's
over the summer, obviously.
Well, you
but-
also have like literally 4
Yeah.
computers right next to you, and I think that does play a role in this. It gets really warm. All right, here's what's coming up tubular-wise. Orioles are in Minnesota. Yes, it's the Dean Kramer revenge game. Trevor Rogers, Dean Kramer, tonight at 7:40 on Masson. That's about it. There's really nothing else.
American Ninja Warrior. Come on.
Oh, yeah? Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
If you have Stars, the Michael movie is streaming now.
Okay.
If you have Stars,
I watched it on the airplane, so I'm good. We went and saw Spider-Man yesterday.
You can't. Are we not allowed to say? Are we gonna get like dinged or something for if we say Spider-Man?
Say Spider-Man if you'd like. We went and
Great
saw
movie.
it.
I liked it.
It was good. It was good. Congratulations to Tom Holland and officially becoming the first actor to make 3 Spider-Man movies without one of them being complete shit. So he's got
4 actually.
4?
Yeah.
Is it really 4?
Yeah. Plus he was in Infinity War and spoiler
Hang on
Endgame.
a second. I thought. Why did I think this was the 3rd? There was No Way Home.
It was a Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
No Way Home.
God, they were really
Brand
stuck
New
on the
Day.
home. Jesus, how long has Tom Holland been? 16 years old.
Infinity Wars is basically a Spider-Man movie. I mean, you know.
Jesus. Oh, good for him. Good for him.
He was in.
And it certainly looks like he's doing another one.
Yeah, he was jacked.
I mean, but even he was kind of joking about.
Well, I
how-
assume he'll be in Doomsday.
Remember, he said like, "I'm not in high
Maybe
school."
not.
There was the "I'm not in high school anymore" line. You're like, "Yeah, bro, you look like your back hurts." Kind of tough to keep having to play a teenager. I guess he was
He just graduated college.
Just graduated college.
Age, at
How old
least,
is Tom Holland really?
He might be pushing 30 now.
He's got to be about 30, right?
Yeah.
Like right about maybe he's 29. It's
I
not.
don't know, maybe he's
there's certainly more egregious cases of someone playing a 22-year-old than
right.
Tom Holland.
He is
but
30. He turned 30 this year.
Yeah.
Is that how old Zendaya is too? Yeah, I
I would
guess she
assume,
probably
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Well, no, I enjoy it.
She's 29.
Okay, good for
Or
her.
she'll be 30 in a month.
I enjoyed it. Well done, Spiderman. Well done.
Why do we say Spiderman?
I don't know. It's just what I say.
I don't
Would
like
you
that.
Calm down.
Just call him Spider. Give him the respect that he.
Easy guy. Easy.
I would have been one of the guys outside the. Oh, sorry, not to
Easy.
spoil it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Let's not give away the whole movie. All right.
I've been wearing a mask, supporting him.
Thanks today to
John Berthel was great.
Berthel was very good.
Yeah.
My kids, we did not.
I never watched the Punisher series.
They did not watch the Punisher
Oh, I
series,
gotta
so
watch
they
it
were
now.
very confused as to who Frank was. They were very, who is this?
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
They kept referring to Staten Island. I'm like,
They want to go visit Staten Island. Now?
yeah. All right. Thanks today to Mike Florio. Thanks also to Mike Bordick. All the mics. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the.
Kimmel is guest hosted by Anthony Anderson this week.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor will be on tonight.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I like
not?
them.
Why
I
not?
like them all
Both
fine.
great. It's
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I like them all fine.
Kristen Stewart, Dominic Cecil, and Fallon.
More likely to probably go to Ann and
And
Ewan.
Ewan.
I think so. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, Kadri.
Yeah, Kadri will join us.
Kadri's going to join us. We'll talk more about Jacoby Lane. How hyped should we be about Jacoby Lane? Stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff.
Okay.
Talk
Thanks.
about a big Orioles win, obviously.
Thanks to everybody at
Rallying
PressBox.
against Dean Kramer.
All of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, Costas Inn, Baltimore Area Highs Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, County Sports Zone, the Maryland Department of Health, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.